Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Modern Market, where every day we discuss everything to do with the modern market. That is the crypto market, the NFT market, and how to make some or a lot of money on the internet. Loaded up for discussion today, we have S&P 500 yet again hitting another all-time high, as BTC at the same time is reclaiming 112,000 US dollars. World Liberty blacklisting Justin Sun's address with $107 million worth of World Liberty tokens on that address. And the Nasdaq starting to put some constraints on crypto treasury companies. Quite an interesting one, which I will cover towards the end of the show. Also, got latest on price action on crypto NFTs and a discussion on where we think that whole treasury segment will be heading now that it's coming under scrutiny. Today, I do have Brett with me in the co-host seat. We're almost ready to get into it. But before we do that, just a reminder, friends, that nothing that we say here is financial advice. This market is extremely risky, and we do not know anything for sure. So please do proceed with caution and exercise your own judgment. With that out of the way, Brett, how are you doing on this Friday?
Morning, friends. We're doing good. It's the end of the week, right? So I spent all of this week prepping for coming weeks. A lot of fun announcements coming out of the mega side, but a lot of coordination required of that. So yeah, been pretty calm as far as like doing things today, prepping for things to come. How about you?
Any things we can tease? Any things you can tease?
Not really. You just got to wait for it. Yeah, I mean, we're excited about it. So like, it's some of it will be a video, which would be cool. So like, it's got that much energy going into it.
Nice. I like the art style of the videos that you guys have been publishing so far.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm still trying to catch up with everything that's going on. Feels like first week back. It's kind of good. It's the weekend. I still didn't manage to go like through all of my messages and all of the people who wanted to call me ever since I've been back. But I feel like
Have you dug yourself out of the hole yet? That's the question.
yeah. I feel like I'm out of the hole. And I feel like I'm also like catching up on the button clicking that I missed.
You making money?
I'm collecting points. I'm collecting points is the answer.
Which are as good as money in this industry, baby.
I did go on a fidgetal
I saw that you're ripping packs. Yeah.
ripping packs spree yesterday, and it escalated a bit. I ripped like more than 2.5K packs yesterday, and have
Individual
now.
packs. Like
Yeah, I mean, you
click the
can only
button
open like
2.5K
5
times.
time, but you still have to click
My
every
word.
pack like to rip it. But I'm now the biggest user on the platform. So when it comes to points and volume done on the platform, let's
That's
see what
crazy.
that will mean in the future.
The packs are getting so absurd that it forced me to send texts to my family and Allison. I said, hey, start looking for them Pokemon cards. Like, if everyone's going to be doing all this shit, it's very likely that we have some somewhere. I very vividly remember my younger brother. We had all 151, of course we did. I'm a collector. I had them all. I had them in a binder. It was nice. Had several Charizards. I very vividly remember my younger brother trading it was a shared collection, 3 boys, right? So we just built a big binder. We were all super cool. He traded one of the Charizards for a Japanese Ninetales. Worst trade of our lives. I was very upset to see after the fact that he had done that. But he was a little bit of a rebel, and I'm fearing now, after hearing from my sister, he probably did the same thing for basically the entire collection over the last few years. Like, it would have been stuck in a binder in my basement if it were me. But he probably just dumped them all somewhere for a couple bucks.
Somehow, like, c'est la vie. Somehow, when I was a kid, everyone wanted to have the Japanese cards, despite them, like, not obviously all of them, but a ton of them being more common. And I feel like a lot of us did the same trades. Trade your base set, holo, whatever Pokemon for this like, fancy Japanese card, which somehow made it
lower quality.
Yeah,
I think so. Our specific story was like, as a card shop owner that did it. So I think it was a little bit of a ruse. You see a young impressionable kid. He's got the Charizard, probably his first edition, because like, bro, I was born in '89, right? So I got, I'm a '90s kid through and through. I saw all the OGs of that shit. probably had the very first edition. I'm watching people open these packs. I remember every one of those fucking things. I opened all those things whenever it happened. But yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it
Prices are
is.
absurd. For listeners who aren't like actually tracking the literal prices of these things, I took a picture of like the Charizard, which is obviously the premium stuff, but like what was it? PSA 10 first edition Charizard. It's like $130,000. It's crazy.
The rarest thing that I pulled yesterday, and I had posted that, did get a bit of traction, was like a promo trainer card from a tournament, and it was like 11K, and Fidgetals puts you on this clock, right? You have 5 minutes to decide if you want to keep it or if you want to sell it back to them for 85% of fair market value. And I asked Tone World, who's also with us in the YouTube comment today, asked me in the Telegram, is this a keeper? Should I sell? I was like kind of hoping for this like instantaneous response because the buyback value was like 11K. And I hit the sell button, unfortunately. And then later on realized, oh, there's only like 3 of them in the world, the PSA 10 population, that is. And Tone World was telling us in the Telegram chat, there's apparently one guy out there who's buying them up. I was like, if you would control like 33% of the supply, aka 1 out of 3, that would be a nice
Not negotiating power.
Yep.
Yep.
But we live and learn. As much as we'd love to.
I mean, 11,000 feels like a pretty easy win. Why? What was the thinking there of selling that pack? As someone who's never ripped any of these packs, so I don't know the rationale.
I mean, I was like obviously ripping the entire day, and that's not an EV positive thing to do, right? So I was burning through ETH. I was like, yeah, that's a nice win back to get 2.5 ETH back and have like more pack ripping power versus
the points.
The points are tempting as always. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I would love to continue the Pokemon conversation, but we have other prices and other stuff to get into. Mainly starting as usual with the price action first. Just let me get that up on screen. There we go. There it is. We have Bitcoin back at 112K, being up 1.1% ish over the last 24 hours. ETH is basically flat on the day, but it's at 4.4K, so that is nice to look at. BNB is flat as well at $850. Solana is down just a touch, $206. Also touching in on Hyperliquid, also flat, $46. And Asui up 1.4%, 3.3 or almost $3.4 for Sui. That is. Brett, did you want to get in on that?
Not Sui, but like look at the majors and like kind of I was talking about how I've been busy. We got a lot of stuff coming, so I've been focusing on this stuff this week. I think this weekend I'm gonna make a concerted effort to like finally like fully reposition my portfolio. Pumped based on the announcement. That was good. I didn't buy as much as I wanted, but like I was in position for that, thankfully. I think I want to buy some Solana here. I feel like it's like about to hit a little bit of an uptrend.
Interesting.
Again, I'm not a huge trader, so it's like for anyone listening, these trades are not like measured in weeks, or especially not days. But like I just feel like with this whole treasury stuff, I feel like it's been beat up for a little bit now. ETH has had a little bit of its run. It's feeling a little tired. Like a lot of these DATs are having MNAVs compress. Yeah, I think I want to reposition into pump and soul a little bit from that ecosystem. I got a bunch of coins all over the place in the Solana ecosystem, namely in NFTs. I think I want to get into soul.
Interesting. Do you want to allocate more from your stablecoin positions in that and increase overall risk exposure, or do you want to like sell existing stuff for that?
It's existing stuff for sure. And like especially the NFTs. Like I need to get the hell out of these things. And like I hate the baseball analogy stuff because everyone does it and no one knows. And like, but it does feel mid to late, right? So it's like innings wise, right? Like where we are in the game. So I want to get closer to the majors. I want to try to, get out of the NFT assets. Like it's a lot of fucking work for me to have to like evaluate these things and get fair price and then get into the main asset and then have that in my back pocket ready to sell if I need it.
Fair enough. I mean, given that we talk about portfolio repositioning, I wanted to bring this post up by Moritz, a good friend of ours and also a pretty good trader. Curious to hear your thoughts on that. Moritz was saying yesterday, I've sold almost all of my crypto positions for over half a year now. The market has been moving almost perfectly with more positive news than one could have hoped for. Even though I don't think we topped for this cycle yet, the risk reward just isn't good enough for me anymore. If we get a big correction, I'll position myself again. If the market keeps going up, I'll still find ways to benefit from it without holding spot backs. This is by no means meant to be a bearish post, though a larger correction wouldn't surprise me. It's more of a reminder to take profits. In the comments, he has been clarifying that he mainly meant ETH BTC by that.
So, I mean, the largest question here is like, what did you reposition into, right? Because like the entire problem that everyone has right now, and the reason people are going into crypto, and the reason people are going into Pokemon cards, and the reason people are going into gold, is because they don't want to hold dollars, right? Like that's the large move. So if he is talking about selling off his crypto positions, I would be curious to see what it is that he is positioning himself into. Maybe it's like a medium term thing, and he's because he is potentially ready to buy back in on a correction, that he's okay holding dollars for that period of time, or maybe euros, who knows. But that would be my question. Is like, what did he ultimately went into? Equities, maybe.
I know that he likes his stock plays, but the question exactly is also like, what stablecoin do you then go into? Do you go into dollars? I mean, from a Dubai perspective, dollars kind of would also make sense because ultimately the dirham is pegged to the US dollar, but you're not escaping the dollar by doing that. So that is definitely something that's on my mind as well. I was saying on the show, I think it was on the no, you were part of the portfolio discussion show where I was saying that I have like 50% stablecoin exposure, and I kind of want to just get into stuff, just have non-dollar stuff. But then again, as I said, dollar is like so useful to do, like for all the points farming. Just take Fidgetals yesterday. It takes dollars to do that. It doesn't take.
Oh, those USDC.
I mean, you obviously can convert from anything and from any token and from everywhere, but ultimately, it is a quote unquote like productive asset that you will still have to convert sometimes.
Yeah. But I don't hate his decision. I'll say it like as LARPy and Mimi as the 4-year cycle is, we are coming up on the end of the 4-year period. I know everyone's saying this is a super cycle, institutional bid, all that stuff. Like, and I don't doubt that on like a larger time scale, but yeah, I mean, if you believe in the magic, time's coming.
I mean, even if you say, the ICO beast type of post, which he loves to say, like, we won forever, even if that is true, like, you still need to take profits along the way. And now is probably as good of a time as any other if you have realized significant gains. Going back to the price action, just to take a quick look at the meme side of things. Pretty flat day, I would argue. Doge is at 21 cents, flat over the day. SHIB is just up a touch. Pepe up 0.3%. Pudgy down 1%. Not too much movement there. SPX had a bit of a move up, 4% over the last 24 hours. But apart from that, just scrolling through there. Troll is the exception, maybe up another 10%, up 28% on the week, trading at 20 cents now. But other than that, it's mostly flat for most of the memes, with the majority moving anywhere between 2% up, 2% down, but nothing too relevant to report on that end. Going to the NFT side of things, one thing I wanted to touch on quickly was this post by Roto that I came across, and you're saying this wallet has been buying, sharing it on screen for those watching on video, has been buying punks since the start of this year, often paying a premium. It seems their goal, because you mentioned collecting the entire base, that collecting 151 Pokemon, and this wallet seems to do the same, but with CryptoPunks, seems that their goal is to collect all trades. So far, they managed to collect 57 out of 87 trades, spending $8 million along the way. It's a pretty ambitious goal to go for all trades in the Punks collection, Brad. Definitely easier.
I'm trying to think of what I would target. I mean, yeah, obviously it's an ambitious goal, and this is like like if you're an NFT collector, this is the thing, right? It's all like, oh, it's finite. There's only a few, like scarcity is the thing, all that. I don't know. Like I still want a punk.
Mhm.
I don't know which trade I want. I don't know the eagerness of it. I don't think I would support it as a PFP. I'm too locked in on my specific brand, obviously, unless they have somehow hidden a bread character for um, the majority of its existence. But I still want one. I think long term, I think it'll be still a good buy. There's not very many NFTs I would say that about.
Yeah, collecting all the trades is like the base set of NFTs, just ridiculously more expensive. Also taking a quick look at the rest of the NFT majors. Nothing too significant to report on there for the big collections. That is, Birds are down a touch. Apes are flat at 9.14. Penguins are flat at 9.84. The one significant thing though is the heavy metal collection out of the um, other side / Yuga ecosystem, which is up 242% on the day. So someone has obviously been shopping for those and has brought the floor up quite a bit.
They sold those off, yeah. So yeah,
Mm.
that's not part of the Yuga ecosystem anymore. It's part of the
Yeah,
Faraday.
correct.
Okay.
They
I
did
actually, like.
did
I
sell
agree
them.
with what they've been doing. They've been divesting a lot of the, I would say, confusing or dilutive brands underneath the ape, like Yuga umbrella. So yeah, like as someone from like I never got involved in the ape ecosystem, looking outside, looking in, like it was just there's a lot of shit going on, and it was very confusing. So the fact that they're like consolidating around like the singular brand, visual, whatever, I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, very much agree. At one point, it got so convoluted, and the same thing had happened historically in the Pixel Vault ecosystem as well. That made it so hard for newcomers to ultimately understand like where the value is sitting and why you would want to buy which asset. So definitely agree with you on that. Look, before we get into the main headlines, a couple more things to do. One of which is touching on the Web3 roundup. To get you the rest of the news from around the space, we have Gemini launching derivatives and ETH install staking in Europe, or more precisely in the EEA, in the European Economic Area. And they're also able to now trade perps denominated in USDC. We have Kraken completing a major acquisition of Breakout to offer prop trading to clients globally. That one I found pretty interesting. Then we also had that came via Tyler because you mentioned it, Brad, Pump Fun doing an aggregated $12 million in buybacks over the past week. That is 98% of the revenue. And as you said, token price is up unsurprisingly as a result of that. Then we also had OpenSea yesterday with, I thought it was a weird announcement saying that, Pudgies are kind of coming home and OpenSea is now the official marketplace for Pudgies.
Yeah, I don't know what
The
that means.
I mean, the only thing that I saw is that like Pudgy NFTs are getting experience, getting XP for the OpenSea TG.
Mhm.
But this post, yeah, there we go. There it is. Penguins have come home. OpenSea is now the official marketplace for both Pudgy Penguins and Pengu. Doesn't really mean anything, does it?
No, because like that's what I was at. Because like Pudgy's never did a migration, right? Like the only way you can say like, I mean, so like this could be like a social thing of like, hey guys, we'd prefer you do this. I remember was a lot of collections were spinning up their own like personal site with their own collection and like trying to use that as a way to like generate royalties and stuff. I don't I think Pudgies did that. I don't recall them ever migrating to a royalty respecting contract. That being a contract that allows you to like hard lock your NFTs to being transferred on singular NFT marketplaces, right? Ones that respect or don't respect royalties, whatever happens. I don't remember them doing that. So for them to sit here and say like we're coming home and this is our market, like official marketing place, is just like a social signal. Like that's it. And if that's the case, I don't care.
Yeah, it feels like such a weird wording. It feels like completely out of touch. Like, if you say Pengu, obviously multi-chain coin, but it's bridging
Mhm.
its main base, its main liquidity to ETH, and ETH is where obviously
Yeah,
Pudgy
it's a Solana token, right?
is originated. in the first place, and you say, okay, Pengu is coming home, it's coming back to ETH, it's coming mainly on ETH. But that is, it's just, I don't know. I probably shouldn't put too much weight in it, but I find it annoying to wear it like that because it feels so out of touch.
Yeah, it's just marketing stuff. And as someone like, I'm now starting to go through this, right? Like I said, we have a bunch of announcements coming. So like a lot of that is negotiating how the hell you guys say stuff and announce things, and like, okay, this is the copy, this is the whatever between you and the other teams. And like, yeah, it like, so I'm just using this as like sometimes the things you get presented are so ridiculous, and you're like, what are you thinking? Like, why would you write this down? For as like a crypto native people, like I think you and I and people listening are probably like, we're very in tune with like what would and would not stand out to other people as like a silly thing, and like had this cross the desk of someone that's just like, I guess in tune, like, what does that even mean? Like, what, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. I like English in the comments saying you can just say things. The Trump
Yeah.
strategy: just say something and some will believe it. That's basically sums it up.
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, that's like 60% of marketing. It's like
Yeah.
Trump literally just says shit, and then like you say it enough, and then people like, if even if you don't like, none of it makes sense, you're like moving the Overton window enough that like, it kind of works and becomes a thing, and like doesn't matter. So yeah,
Yeah. That's a
yeah, fuck me, right?
that's a fair point. Last piece of news from the roundup: Doodles announced that the Cato leaderboard is now live. Post about OG Doodles and Dude the token to earn Yaps.
Now that you've like you've cleansed yourself of this space and you're coming back, do you
Yeah.
have any updated feelings on InfoFi, on Kaido, on like, but let's just say like if 100% was like peak, or a 10 out of 10 was peak, like trust and think InfoFi is the future, Kaido's reputation is good. What is your current positioning on like how you think this stuff is stacking up? Like, is Kaido leaderboard something meaningful to you as a participant right now? Is it
Um,
credible?
yes and no, I would say. I would say yes to the extent when you can like measure if someone has like skin in the game when it comes to doing something.
Mm,
Like, because you asked like me personally, take two of the leaderboards where I'm ranking, or I was ranking the highest. I didn't check in a long time, probably dropped a lot while I wasn't here. But that would be Yeet on the one hand. Like I've
mm,
done millions of volume on Yeet. I'm obviously like using that platform. I'm gambling on there. And I talked about Yeet, and Yeet is also a partner of the show. So if you're like, we've partnered up with them, I have personally skin in the game on the platform, I talk about them, kind of makes sense. Same with Mega ETH. I have now
mm.
69 bat buns, spent a ton of money on them.
Jesus.
Um, I'm an advisor to Euphoria, for example. So I'm working with Mega ETH projects as well. Obviously, you're a big part of the show. You're a core member there. I talk about that. That kind of makes sense. But then there's like probably other things where you just talk and yap about something because you think the reward is worth it, but you don't really have skin in the game.
Mm,
Um, and it's still more transparent. Like if we talk about this list that appeared while I was gone, with people getting paid, but I don't even know what project it was and not disclosing that. So at least with Kata, is like still more transparent. Like I don't want to name specific projects, but if you see all of the timeline talk about a specific project that they didn't mention before, and you see they have a leaderboard, you kind of know what's going on. Like you can find it annoying, but you know there's an incentive for people to do that. So from that perspective, it helps to add transparency, and it's more transparent than the typical agency model where you wouldn't know like which agency is working with what kill and like promoting what narrative. So is it ideal? No. Is it better than what we had before? Yes, absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I would say that probably sums up my position pretty well. Um, and I would say before we move on, just because you rattled off a bunch of things, I'm actually gonna put out a tweet later, and I had you in mind for one of these. I'm just gonna say to, if there's people in the crowd or in you too, I got a lot of interesting growth positions with some very renowned teams, we'll say. Like there's some teams that are fucking goated, like institute, like, and this is like, there's a combination. Some of them are institutional, like literally like built out some of the biggest, baddest things you've seen in this industry, like across this industry, and they now need someone that is going to be like professional. If you think of it like an Athena style growth role, where it's like Athena is a very professional institutional product, and they have their ambitions set on like outgrowing the world. I have one that's like that position, and again, goated team. Like when you hear that, like where these guys come from, it's industry defining. The next is like some of your prediction market stuff. So like if anyone in the crowd is listening and like is interested in like participating in some of this stuff, maybe running socials, like kind of doing like a bread guy. Like everyone always comes to me and is like, I want a bread guy of X, right?
Yeah.
Um, they want that kind of stuff. So if anyone has any like interest in like these types of roles, again, one of them is very, very DeFi heavy. And then like it will be institutional grade. The other one is like more traditional prediction market. Yeah, like some more degen style shit. So if anyone's interested, let me know. That includes you, Legendary. I'll talk to you after the show about that one.
Interesting. So I have to wait
Dude,
27 more minutes to get some
yeah, dude,
details.
it's yeah. I had to call these guys. I'm like, they're like, yeah.
Awesome. Alrighty, let's keep it moving. One more thing before we get into the main headlines. We talked about Yeet. Yeet is also, as I said before, the partner of our show, and we are excited to say that we are sponsored by Yeet today, the crypto casino that now has done more than $500 million of volume since it has been founded a couple months ago by trusted names like Mando, KBM, and the pro poker player Ben Lam. Mando also came on the show before my holiday to talk about everything that they are doing. I'm obviously, as I said, a passionate user of the site. Limbo GCR is what they call me. So it felt like a very natural partnership. Also a reminder to only gamble for fun and what you're comfortable with. And to help that, we are giving out up to $750 each week randomly to players active under the Modern Market affiliate link, which I'm going to post in the comments a bit later. So do check it out. They have a number of crypto-themed games in the sportsbook also coming soon. And stay tuned for our giveaway at the end of today's show. With that being said, let's get into the first main headline. And that's one for me. Let me get it up on screen. And it is to
While
do
you
on
do
the
that, I'm gonna just a heads up. Husker from the crowd, listener of the show, said confirm the pudgy thing. He's like, yes, the never migrated contracts. Pudgy had their own marketplace for a while. This is just a social thing, so we got it.
awesome.
Thanks, Husker.
Just saying things. Let me get it up on screen. There we go. We have the S&P 500, as I said, hitting a new all-time high at 6,000, above 6,500 points, being up almost 1% over the last day, also being up, 3% over the month. And we have quite a few interesting, I would say, like economic developments and stats that I want to touch on. That also just used for myself to catch up with what has been going on, and I thought it's quite interesting to just go around those numbers. The 10-year treasury yield, that has fallen significantly. It's down to still high. It's at 4.17%, but at least it is at its lowest levels since April. And going hand in hand with that, we also see treasury buybacks from the US Treasury Department accelerating. They have bought back a record of $138 billion in bonds year to date. That is more than they did last year. In the entirety of 2024, they did 79 mils. It's like almost double. It's almost double that amount in 9 months. So with 3 more months to go. Obviously, this buyback kind of aims to, boost liquidity, manage cash, and just make that market a bit more attractive. And another data point, also coming via the Kobesi letters, they want to point out is that job openings have dropped in the US by 176,000 in July to 7.2 mil. That is the second lowest since December 2020. That also brings the 3-month average down a fair bit. Somehow the US labor market is deteriorating. And I wanted to head to Polymarket as well to get a view at the market for the Fed decision in September, which now has a crazy amount of volume in it, by the way. So we're talking about things that are trending, and prediction markets are definitely picking up insane volume. This market now has 64 mil, almost 63.5 mil to be precise, in volume, and 87% of the market, that is the highest it has been, are expecting a 25 bips decrease in September, and 6.6% see a 50 bips decrease. So that is like basically priced in with almost 94% of the market thinking we're going to see rate cuts over the next weeks.
Rate cut means, so like this is the stuff that I've been reflecting on listening to the macro podcast, and most of them are just like saying the same things. Like, guys, like directionally, it's just like rate cuts are coming, dollar's going to get devalued, risk assets go up. So it's like all this short, medium time volatility that you may or may not be seeing. If it's like making you question yourself, even like me talking about like the late inning stuff, it's like kind of doesn't matter, because structurally, like you see, this is the direction that a lot of this stuff is going. And if this is going to go in this direction, that it only means one thing. And that means you don't want to hold dollars and you want to hold all this other stuff. And typically that means, like, that's why gold, collectibles, Bitcoin now is in that category a little bit. Like that's just like, that's where everyone's heads are at. Now it's scary. Like it's scary that it's a little consensus, but I don't know if it's just consensus in the circles that I'm listening to. And like, that's not consensus across everything. Cause talking to like my parents, for instance, they don't have any awareness of any of this kind of shit. Right. So it's only consensus to the people that are paying attention, which makes me think that like, okay, that's just how this stuff is going to behave.
Yeah, that is a fair point, and to an extent, I also think that some of that has to be priced in. I mean, given that we just said that the S&P 500 hit an all-time high, and also to Stefano's point in the YouTube comments, 63 mil on a Fed decision bet is insane. It is, and especially if you look at the next one, Fed decision in October, which I also wanted to mention. That market is way smaller. It's just 2.8 mil for October 29th, that is. And it's also looking completely different. Basically, it's a toss-up. It's a 50-50 chance whether we're going to see a decrease or no change. So I am almost thinking that, given that there's like 30 times more liquidity in the September market, which will resolve in the next 12 days, and this is just a month away, if that wouldn't be worth a bet on this market.
So, okay, so two comments here. Like one, I think obviously, the one that's closer has more confidence, therefore it has more liquidity. Like that, like all that stuff makes sense. And that, I think, is a trend we constantly see with these predictions, or just a commentary we keep seeing, right? It's like no one likes doing this long dated shit, because you're locking up your capital for a very long time, and the peak or the most that you can get return wise is usually less than had you done, because like most of these aren't mispriced at like 100% to 1, right? Where you can actually have like 100x inside of the thing. It's usually like 50%, which means your best upside is a 2x, right? Over months of time, which is like not enticing for a lot of people on something that can go to zero, right? The RR is not really there. And so one, the compression of like the compression of appetite for these prediction markets. And I saw this basically the same prediction market template being used for sports gambling. And that had me, I don't know if you've ever done like sports betting, but there's a lot of sports betting restrictions taking place in the States. There's like, I think it's like 22 states that are like actually coming over the top and like hammering a lot of these things. And this layout, this like predicting the end of, like, instead of betting on the game, you're predicting the end of the game. Like this same layout is actually picking up a lot of traction. So I don't know if that's ever like appealing to you, or if that's like, you think this packaging for the same basic outcome, which is like, do you think one thing is going to take place in the next week, day, whatever, mid game? I don't know, like the form factor is commentary is kind of what I'm going towards. Is like, I wonder if this thing is like actually just like something the world is getting used to and it's normalizing, and like it'll be adopted in a bunch across a bunch of other things just because it is intuitive.
Yeah, I think from a marketing perspective, that's probably like one of the best reframings that I've seen. I mean, yes, you can have like some sort of expert opinion and bet on something happening, but you could make the same argument for, I don't know, a horse race. And at the end of the day, it's like gambling on a specific outcome. But the way that we called them, and obviously the name has been around for years, it's not a new term, but that we've been calling them prediction markets and make them sound so much more sophisticated by doing that. It doesn't sound
Mm.
like gambling. Like, you're an expert on something and you're predicting this outcome. You're not gambling on the
Yeah.
Fed cutting rates. You're not gambling on Elon putting out 243 tweets over the next 5 days. You're predicting that, and you're way more sophisticated because you're predicting it instead of gambling on it. Very, very smart reframing. We got
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we're experts at that shit, right? We say
oh yeah,
like we reframe everything. You know, a guy who sits on his computer and clicks a create token button is now a dev, for instance.
yeah, fair enough. We got like 17-ish minutes or so left in the show, so let's keep
Mm.
it moving. Getting into the second headline, which is to do with World Liberty Fight. Brett, are you good
With
to
His Majesty. Yeah, I got this one.
fantasy? Awesome. Let's do it.
So, okay, so the second one is World Liberty Financial blacklists Justin Sun's address with $107 million in WLFI token. So this one's pretty interesting. So what basically happened was Liberty Fi launched. They had noticed that these addresses tagged as Justin Sun on Arkham started transferring out chunks of the World Liberty Fi token to exchanges. Some of them as high as $9 million worth in single transactions. And for him, he's like, yeah, just a few little test transactions. I was just making sure this stuff was going from A to B. No big deal. And then the World Liberty Fi team froze his address. They just said, like, they blacklisted it. You can't send anymore. And he tried to proclaim that these were just send transactions and distribution transactions. I was not buying or selling. There would be no market impact to this. Now, why is this interesting? It's interesting because Justin Sun has actually had really strong relationships with the World Liberty Fi team over the last year or so. Just to name a few things, he had done a $30 million token purchase and got an advisory role in 2024. Then World Liberty Fi has increased their ties to the Tron ecosystem. They added Tron's native token TRX to its treasury, and Eric Trump was revealed plans to launch USD1 stablecoin on Tron. So, like, this is not like a just like a non-whale who is doing a lot of action. Like, these guys talk, you would presume, based on all this stuff, and yet they made the decision to just like stop his shit. Now, no one knows why. I have not seen that they did a press release. Some are believing that is because of price action on their token, which was down 20% on the day and like 45% over the last several days. So, like, was it a panic of like, hey, this dude's making our numbers go down, stop him? And they're doing that. We don't know, but like that's what everyone is implying or inferring from this decision. And Justin Sun issued a statement, presumably written by ChatGPT for obsessive M- usage, or at least rewritten by it, and saying like, hey guys, like, this isn't crypto, unlock my shit, let me out. That's the TLDR. We haven't seen anything. It's crime on crime, frankly.
I like how you summarized Justin Sun's post, which has stuff in there that reads very GPT. Like, I call on the team to respect principles, unlock my tokens, and let's move forward together towards the success of World Liberty Financials.
You know what's the most egregious thing in here? It's not the M dashes, it's inviolable.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That's the thing. When I saw that, I was like, you didn't write that, bro. This either came from a lawyer and the lawyer used ChatGPT, or it's straight up from ChatGPT.
I mean, on the positive side, if you want to find a positive side to that, is the beauty of it is that because we have the blockchain, because we have Arkham as an explorer, you see that stuff playing out in public. If that were to happen
Yeah, in
on a
real
private
time.
blockchain, or if that were to happen with a private investment, and then some funds get frozen, some shares get frozen, you would never have any clue of that happening. So,
Speaking of that, Tempo dropped yesterday. Did you see that?
I did not know. Do you
Tempo,
want to touch on what
Tempo, Tempo is Stripe / Paradigm blockchain, L1, right? So they announced it yesterday. They had they talked about some of the technical properties it'll have, mostly stable coins. It'll have an embedded AMM that'll allow you to pay for gas in all of the approved tokens, mostly all stables, right? That'll be the gas tokens. And a lot of these newer chains are coming with some like opt-in privacy features, mostly for compliance reasons. So just like that's what made me think of that, saying like, oh, we can see this stuff because it's on the blockchain. Very soon we won't be able to see it on some of these because of some of the underlying properties that they're trying to preserve. Now, whether that's good or bad, I think is on a case by case basis. I think privacy is not a bad thing. So like, right, we've seen it with Tornado Cash, and even Vitalik wanting to donate and remain anonymous. I know you go through like hoops to try to maintain anonymity for some of your transactions, right? Like, so yeah, just a note that that's coming. It had a little bit of a blast yesterday. The team is pretty stacked. They were all coordinated in their announcement and saying they're part of like what's to come, and they pulled it from a bunch of special mechanisms designers from within Ethereum. Obviously, Patrick Carlson from Stripe, and then you have the Paradigm guys. And Matt Huang is the CEO of Tempo. So it's like it's a pretty big team. So that was cool to see.
Awesome. And talking about stables, we've been tagged a couple of times already in the YouTube comments. Shout out to Trafi telling us to check out the Hyperliquid announcement because it's very relevant and it has to do with what we've been just speaking about. I'm going to bring that up on screen as well. It is from a Discord announcement, and it is to do with USDH. The USDH ticker currently reserved
The hell's USDH?
will be released by a validated vote in a transparent on-chain process. The USDH ticker is well suited for a Hyperliquid first, Hyperliquid aligned, and compliant USD stablecoin. After the next network upgrade, validators will be able to vote to allow user address to purchase the USDH ticker. Voting is fully on-chain through a Hyperliquid L1 transaction in the same way the delisting votes work. So it is there. Is it then their stablecoin?
Interesting. Okay, so read that again. That was like that's pretty big news. So
the USDH ticker currently reserved by the protocol will be released by a validated vote in a transparent on-chain process. The USDH ticker is well suited for a Hyperliquid first, Hyperliquid aligned, and compliant USD stablecoin.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean that's can't see that's a Hyperliquid token stablecoin, right? That can't be any more straightforward there. Now, here's the fun. What does that do for the protocol? Was it like, so what I see, I'm going to assume this is not a yield bearing asset, which means all of this USDC, which is then if you have to bridge into Hyperliquid, USDC sits on Arbitrum. Obviously, Circle is capturing all the yield of all of that USDC that's just sitting out there, right? Tens of billions of dollars, or hundreds of millions. I don't know how much is actually on there, but a lot. I think it's like several $billion worth. That's going to create, or I imagine they would mint or convert over to this USDH inside of Hyperliquid, which means now all of that token that is sitting on Hyperliquid could potentially be a yield bearing token. And then that is revenue that the team can have on the back end outside of the fees that is being generated and going 97% to the token buybacks. So add some sustainability to them for growth.
That is a very beautiful summary. Yeah. That's a very smart move then as well, because as you say, they're foregoing a lot of that to Circle. And it's been a point of criticism for a while. And they do it in a Hyperliquid aligned manner by releasing the ticker and not just implementing it themselves.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what's actually happening on the back end, right? Because if I have that USDC, I'm on Arbitrum, I deposit it there, then Hyperliquid internally represents that as also USDC on their side, but it doesn't actually create like a second USDC, right? They're two representations of the same token. So if I do USDC owned by Hyperliquid in the Hyperliquid contract on Arbitrum, and then it mints USDH on side of Hyperliquid, it does not remove the dollar of USDC on whatever. So it makes me wonder like how they can actually like create a net new dollar on chain to actually capture the yield on that, because like that's what you need in order to do that. You need a net new dollar. Are they selling the USDC somewhere? Are they converting it somewhere? Like what's actually happening to like actually change that over. Something I'll have to read into.
Something will be definitely coming back to as soon as we have more A, info, and B, thoughts on that. But we have one more headline to get into, and then we have a giveaway to get into. So let's do that. Let's get the last headline out of the way. And it is to do with the Nasdaq starting to implement some restriction when it comes to this crypto treasury company boom. Specifically, the Nasdaq, and that comes from an article on CoinDesk, is reportedly aiming to put constraints on crypto treasury companies. And for example, having shareholder votes that need to be held or have shareholder approval before selling shares for the funds necessary to buy crypto. The exchange, as the story goes on, could also delist or suspend trading if these stocks would, or if these companies would fail to comply. Obviously, that affected some tickers. For example, Kindly MD, which only days ago had completed its merger with the Bitcoin holding company Nakamoto Holdings. It's down 16% on Thursday yesterday. It's down 80% since the merger 2 weeks ago, a bit more than 2 weeks ago, on August 15th. Also, American Bitcoin, the company by the two oldest Trump sons, which we covered on the show yesterday, which had its stock debut yesterday, is down 20% after it started to trade on the Nasdaq, and so on and so forth. I honestly think it is a good news. We've seen way too many ridiculous moves by companies trying to get some sort of crypto treasury going, starting to sell stocks aggressively, or using other means to get to those funds. And while it was nice to watch both ETH, both BTC, like flowing massively into these companies and partially even surpassing the ETF volume. I understand that there needs to be some sort of regulation, especially when you're gonna share, when you're gonna sell your shares so excessively to purchase hype, BTC, ETH, whatever it is. So not surprised to see that coming, and I actually think it's a good sign. Brett, what about you? How do you feel about this piece of news?
Doesn't make me feel any sort of way, to be honest.
Fair enough. Then shall we do the fun part? Shall we get into the giveaway?
I'll do it. So you weren't here for this. B-Check and I had a heck of a time trying to get this stuff on screen, show it off, have it like actually done. I think by the end we had it down to a system. Do you need any help here? You're just leaning on me.
I have a wheel of names ready that is now branded,
Oh,
the Modern Market logo in it. And just as a reminder, we will pick one person from our board, the Modern Market Ether board. Again, once we will wrap up the show, I'm going to also post the link in the comments. It's going to be, on the one hand, $250 in cash to a Yeet account, which we'll send after the show, and $250 in free spins, which we are going to do on Limbo in a second. But first, we need to pick a winner. So let me get this board up here with the Modern Market brand and with Modern Market aligned colors. And let's spin it. We have Meg, we have Funky, Chaos Trader, Atari God. And it's between Atari God and Funky. Well, this is going to be for Funky. I think Funky recently actually posted that he's on his flight back from, I don't know where he was, but he was sharing that he is gambling on a plane, which is quite degenerate, which we like. So he's going to have more funds to continue this degen activities. Let me move over to Yeet, get Limbo open in the background. And then we are ready to do this in 1 second. There we go. This is Limbo. We'll set it to USDT, obviously, because this is what we are gambling with. See that it remembers my settings, which is 300 multiplier and $20 bet. We're not going to do that. It's a bit too degenerate. We are going to do, as usual, our 5 bets, $50 each for a 2x. Oh, Funky's here. Good.
Nice. Okay, good. He's going to see it.
Good luck, Funky, on that.
It's
How
because
many?
he's getting tagged in the chat, so everyone's all congratulating him. So his
He's
Wi-Fi on the internet or airplane Wi-Fi kicked in.
Love it. How many will hit, Brett? What's your guess? Out of the
I did 2 last time, and I think it went 3. And because it's Funky, I'm gonna say we're getting weird. You can get 4 wins.
I want to say 4 as well, but I'm gonna say 3 now. All right, let's do the first one. That hit. That was a 32x. That's a 2x. The next one that did not hit.
Not great.
So if you want to win, all 3 to come have to hit. Nope. That did not hit as well. We have 2 more to go. We have 1 more.
No.
Ouch.
Jesus. So I'll just blame. Okay, so people are listening. He lost 4 out of the 5.
Yes.
We'll just have to blame Legendary for putting the bad juju on us. Taking the downside. He should have said 5 instead of my 4.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to take the blame for this. But nonetheless, that is 250 plus the one that won $100. That is $350, Funky, that we will send to you just after the show. And that, unless you have any closing thoughts, Brett, will also bring us to the end of this show and to the end of all the shows for this week. Any last words? Any last thoughts?
No, man, just enjoy the weekend. We're coming up on the end of summer, so everyone getting ready to lock in and enjoy the fall and holidays start rolling in shortly after that. So I would say just enjoy yourselves, everyone.
Alrighty. Thank you, Brett, for co-hosting the show with me today. Thank you for everyone in the audience, whether that is on YouTube or on X. We will be back same time, same place on Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern time. And in the meantime, we will, as usual, upload the episode to both Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Have a great weekend and see you on Monday.